So John Coltrane played a Love Supreme in a quartet setting. And to what extent were McCoy Tyner, Jimmy Garrison, and Elvin Jones on the same type of spiritual journey?
Well, I think that's a really good question. I think that that the quartet operated for a very incredible period of time, and I think that they really got to know each other. And McCoy Tyner and Jimmy Garrison were friends from Philadelphia, whereas Elvin Jones, he got to know, who was from Detroit, got to know in New York, and this real sense of being able to be truthful and open and honest as you play was very important. If you're interested, there was another, December 9th is when this was recorded. They came back the next day, December 10th, and there were two other musicians there, Al Davis and Archie Shepp, none of that made it on the recording, and in fact, people believe that those recordings were lost. When John Coltrane moved into doubling bass and doubling drums, it didn't work so well, and then they sort of moved away from that. So I think within that particular moment, which is why I think Love Supreme is so extraordinary, I think you'll have four people who are really on an incredible place, whether they knew it or not, were really open for what the moment could create for them to create this incredible piece of music that was not rehearsed and really, really only done live maybe once or twice since by the group.
No, I was just going to say one of the most incredible moments for me, just recognizing the power and the beauty of that band, was not the first time that I saw Coltrane. It was a program where they played a song called Alabama, and just a few days after there was a church bombing, killed those young black girls, or the people that were murdered. And I began to watch this video over and over and over again during the course of maybe about a month. And the more I saw it, the more I realized that, to answer, or to, continue with what you're talking about, and the answer as well, is, yeah, they were definitely all on some sort of journey. There seemed to be a heavy emotion in the room while they were playing it, and just the looks on their faces, the intention behind, each note. I remember the day I actually received the first chill from watching it, and realized that this was something much more than just some cats jamming, or even some of the greatest musicians doing what they do well. It was well beyond that for me, just to see the type of passion and to see the type of conviction in a collective form.
I think also jazz offers something to that conversation that other mediums don't. We talked a little bit about the way that Miles Davis and John Coltrane recorded together, and there was this tension between good and evil in their recordings and in their music, and they were you get a sense that they were battling it out with these tools that they had, and they were able to do that within the form. Maybe you can talk a little bit about jazz as a form and why it lends itself to this type of spiritual discussion. Well,
I think specifically, I think there's, and you guys can certainly weigh in, or Christopher can just kind of sit down, whatever he wants to do. You can weigh in. Jazz, I think, having some tremendous musicians here, is a lot of it is about, performance and what one can play versus what the other one can play, cutting contests and stuff like that, which is where I don't think John Coltrane was there at all. I think John Coltrane, unlike much of, the models that existed and exist today in other music as well, certainly in hip-hop, that's a very important model as well, of trying to see who's going to be the best. Coltrane just played and practiced and learned it and internalized all of this. Some of the record producers just said there were just a few people in memory, Stan Getz being one of them, and John Coltrane, who just knew everything. They just knew it. There couldn't be a piece that they could throw out. So I think just with his inner confidence, that there was just, you had to be of a certain mindset to be able to play with that, as opposed to trying to best that.
When I was a lot younger, to go to Carnegie Hall and hear Claudio Rao play Chopin, and it was a tremendous spiritual experience. And now I'm hearing you, without any practice, come out on the stage. And we also have the opportunity for a tremendous spiritual experience. Can you tell me or can you discuss what is the difference between this kind of between the motifs and what kind of response we elicit from it?
I don't want to put you on the spot, William, but you just got your PhD in classical composition. I don't want to put you on the spot at all. Do you want to speak on that? Yeah. Great. Excellent. Well, I mean, I could just make stuff up, but here's one.
Well, I'm not familiar with the Chopin piece that you mentioned, but I do know from experience. I actually, my main instrument growing up was cello. My classical training actually came on cello. So I had kind of a dual lifestyle happening musically, where I was in the orchestra on one hand, where everything was scripted, scored out, and there was the other side of me that was in this jazz world where, you get one sheet of paper with a few chords and a melody on it, and then you're supposed to create something out of that. And I'm gonna kind of go around your question and come back to it. I think you'll understand in a minute. But when I was about, I want to say I was roughly 14 or 15 years old, I went to a concert. It was a chamber concert, and they played one of Bartók's string quartets. He wrote 6 of them, and I want to say it was number 4. I can't remember exactly. It's been a long time. But I remember walking away the same way you felt when you walked away from the piece that you were just mentioning. And what I realized is that a lot of it has to do with the spirit in which the piece was composed. There are certain things that just inherently come out when a certain piece of music is played. Even if it's not played with the same kind of passion and intention, it's inexplicable, but it happens. I think the next thing that I would say about that is it definitely has something to do with who's playing it. If a person, you can play Mary Had a Little Lamb with passion and make somebody really feel it in a way that they never felt it before. But this is a huge debate, and it has been for a long time, about the difference between jazz and classical music, and is jazz more spiritual, more free, or is classical more intellectual? These things kind of come up all the time. But the reality of it is there's actually more connection between these two genres than is perceived, and more than most people actually understand. When you think about the history of classical music actually had quite a bit of improvisation in it particularly during the early stages, going into the Baroque era and even well into the classical era. In fact, it was Mozart who was the first one who started writing out his cadenzas. Before that time, everything was improvised. So I think, to just get back to your question, it has more to do with the spirit in which the pieces are composed, and I'd say most importantly with the person who is playing them. What is their intention behind playing them? Yeah.
Neil has wonderfully agreed to do one more piece before the end of the night, so I will
we're
turn
going
it
to do
over.
Mary Had a Little Lamb, actually. It's gonna be,
With feeling this
see
time.
if you feel it. So again, I want just hope that you get to hear these guys in town, and just follow. And this is William Menefield on piano, everyone. Dr. William Menefield. Christopher Thomas on bass. And Brandon Temple on drums, everybody. We'll do acknowledgement. Just a little bit. Okay. So this has a part for you. This is a John Coltrane piece that has a part for everybody. Okay? Is that okay? Yeah. It's called Acknowledgement. It's the first movement of A Love Supreme. So we'll see what happens. supreme. Come on. A love supreme. A love supreme. A love supreme. A love supreme. A love. A little louder, y'all. Just like you do in synagogue. Come on. A love supreme. A love supreme. A love supreme. Come on. Come on. Louder. Come on.